Hello everybody, my name is Adamar Productions to my review of the Warmaster box sets for Volume Good and Master of Callous. So for those who don't know, the Warmaster spin-off series for Big Finish centered around the Warmaster, who first premiered in Utopia, and Big Finish actually managed to get Derek Jacobi back to do a spin-off audio series with him. I think it's really cool. So, as usual, these videos are meant to be consumed. You can watch this sort of in the background, just to sort of listen and filler. I'll have a revolving background as well, different Big Finish audio covers, so just enjoy that as well. So, with the warm-up, I did quite recently do a very long and very big review of the range as a whole very recently, and I criticized it for several reasons. Reasons that I will probably get into maybe in a different video or maybe at the end of this. But I made this criticism. I made this criticism in response to new self-defense box set coming out, and I will detail that later. But for the time being, we're just going to be talking about Only the Good and Master of Callous. So I do think that as two starting box sets, I think these are incredibly strong. I don't think there's really a lot I can really say badly about these box sets, but I'll get into that a bit later. Popular conjecture when it comes to the Warmaster is that the Master of Callous is probably one of the best Big Finish have ever produced. That is the most popular thing. That's possibly one of the most popular opinions I've ever heard. I've never heard anybody say that they're not actually a big fan of Master of Callous, except for myself, but I'll get to that in a minute. Only the Good. Only the Good is actually one of the first ever box sets I listened to through Big Finish, and it was actually recommended to me by Stupid. And I gotta say, I really liked it. It was a really different take to center something around the bad guy. You can do bad guy TV shows and have it be good, but it didn't reach the point yet where you could listen to this and think, oh man, the Master's a real evil, nasty bastard. How could he do stuff like this? You would notice as the volumes go on, you notice that they pull this card a lot. Everybody just acts like, oh man, but it really shows how evil, nasty, manipulative that the Master can really be. It's like, we already know that it's nothing new. If you're going into these box sets with this mindset thinking, man, he really is an evil, conniving bastard, you don't know the Master at all. It's sort of like, going up to your best friend and your best friend acts like your best friend and go, oh man, I just love you, like reacted like that, but act completely surprised. It's like, is this like, this seems really unnecessary. I think it's really good that I'll probably argue that it doesn't really happen until the end of Master of Callous. Where this point really comes up. I like how these first two box sets sort of take their time in easing you into the character. It doesn't really drop the ball on any of these aspects. You do get to see, of course, the manipulative side of him, but you do also see a different side of the Warmaster as well. One who's not emotionally caring, but one who does show a lot of restraint. Is someone who, as a character, is also tested. It is completely, in these box sets, it is completely commonplace for the Master to be completely bulldozing everyone and everything. There's no problem. You always know who's going to come in and win in the end. And towards, I think, maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5. Probably not number 4 because it's amazing. But I'll get to that one in another video. But you definitely can hit that pattern where it's like, whoa, the Master won again. Super manipulative, super evil, super bastard. They really should have a lot of restraint once again in not doing those for those first two box sets. It was really nice that we just got these little self-contained stories, as it were. So starting with Only the Good, Beneath the Viscoid, the Good Master, the Skyman, and the Heavenly Paradigm. It starts off amazingly. Except for episode 3, which I think is possibly one of the worst things Big Finish have ever produced. I am not going to lie. The first two stories, Beneath the Visquid and the Good Master, I think it's really good stepping stones for for the series as a whole. It takes time to sit you down and introduce this new War Master, this new incarnation that we've only met on screen once, and even then that was towards its lifespan. They do some really interesting ideas, some really nice stories, and even some really good use of the dialects. Usually when you listen to some dialect stories or watch some dialect stories, they feel really non-threatening. It's sort of the same here, but they do have this like an omnipresent feel over it. I think it's done really well. Acting and honestly the stories for the first two are just really on point. I would love to go back to Only the Good sometime and actually re-listen to this. But unfortunately, I am still trying to catch my backlog first before I go back and listen to any of this. So, I'll get back to that in a moment. Skyman is where things get a little bit complicated. When I first started listening to this, I didn't exactly know. I did really like the idea of Cole trying to save the planet basically for the Time War. It provided a really nice, sort of like something to build up the third act, the last story a little bit. But the problem was how it was delivered. James Goss, I love James Goss now. However, during his earlier writing credits, especially for some of the Torchwood range, he just really hit the wall. And unfortunately, this is sort of the same thing with Skyman. Skyman loves to play close to his chest. He likes to act like he's playing close to his chest, when in reality, you could see every single card that's coming from a mile away. Really got sick of it towards halfway through the story when it just sort of dragged on and on and on. You could tell where the story was going a million miles, and yet it still acted like it was pulling all these major punches. When I listened to this story, I absolutely hated it. I dreaded its existence and the fact that it was possibly in one of the best, one of the best things Big Finish have ever produced of all time. And it was really weird listening to this and having everybody once again, basically have their eyes glazed over when they listen to Skyman. It's the best thing that Big Fish ever produced aside from Master of Callous. It was really filled with emotion, great acting, and I was sort of just like, really? This is it? It's really painful to sit through the entire thing, and the entire time, so painfully obvious what was going on. That's what I remember actually working with the company as I was a delivery driver at the time, listening to this, and I was embarrassed that this was on because the acting was bad, but I really say why I don't like the story. I just hate it. Wish I could completely redo some of the bits in the story. Really nice idea, really like it, but it's just really executed poorly. And then we go to the Heavenly Paradigm. The Heavenly Paradigm as an ending, I think, is sufficient. I don't think it's this amazing way to cap off the first box set, especially with the ending. So, spoilers for the next part, but in the end of the box set, the Master uses the Chameleon Arch to turn himself, I shit you not, into a baby. He literally Chameleon Arches himself into a baby. And I know that in Utopia, the Master said, I was found as a naked child of the coast of a silver devastation. But the thing is that the Doctor did really do the same thing in was it Human Something and the Family of Blood. He didn't do the exact same thing. He just they just got a whole bunch of memories. Why did the Master have to turn into a baby at the end of the Heavenly Paradigm? It was so weird and so out of left field. Which, yeah, whatever. There's probably someone out there who probably wasn't paying attention enough to that. So that's my headcanon at least. Yeah, Heavenly Paradigm. I really do like the direction that the story went. I think that as an ending, it was very natural. At the same time, it really coming off the back of Skyman, you can't really hit that rock bottom. But as a whole, would definitely recommend Only the Good. If you're like anybody else who I've talked to, you will probably love the shit out of this box set, especially the Skyman. If you're like me, you'll definitely love the shit out of this box set, but not the Skyman. Listen to it for yourself and just see what you think. So then we'll move on to Master of Callous. So another thing that Big Finish like doing. Oh, sorry, just bumped my microphone. Bump it again. There we go. So something else that Big Finish would love to do or Master is that they like to play on his. Sometimes I might just remove the War Master, just the Master, sorry, for like a small section of the box set, like maybe just to one part. I like to build up the story first, which and you know, just have it sort of as a presence in the background. And I actually don't really mind that at all. I think that you know, it's a really nice way to set things up without having him just step in and completely curve stomp everything in the first 60 minutes. It's really nice to listen to the story, listen to the perils of the people and what's going on without, you know, the master coming in and going, oh, this is bad, you should let me do X and X. And it was really nice to have him as a background, this as a like a background character rather than an actual character. Of course, going into Valerian Prize, this all changes, and I think for the most part of the story, I was having an absolute blast. It was a lot of fun listening to the master, you know, and how his plans come to fruition and what was going on, the different relationships between the characters on the planet and the starships. I thought it was really well done and really well handled. I think that, you know, just about the same point that James Goss really started hitting his stride again. And then you hit the Persistence of Dreams. And I'm sort of glossing over the first two parts, but they're good. They're not amazing, but I think they're really good. It's sort of like the first two parts of Only the Good. They try different things, it's a success. And then you hit the third part. Holy shit, the third part. This is so bad, I'm actually going to defend the Skyman. At least when the Skyman did it, it had some entertainment value. Yes, I was cringing the entire way through, but with the Persistence of Dreams, I felt nothing. So here's where we go back into spoiler territory. In the Persistence of Dreams, at the end of the second episode, a character is lost in space and is dying. She's running out of oxygen, and she is basically kaput. And this box set is, in the last few seconds of her life, she basically goes through an entire backstory, in the sense of her slowly dying. And I just felt absolutely nothing towards this character. Like, she's dying. Why did you dedicate a whole hour to this character who's going to die, and just, you know, not have a build? You know, why not insert little scenes like this throughout the first 3 parts? That way, when she starts dying, I actually give a shit a little. But I guess I digress. The problem with the Master of Callous is that it feels like it blows its load way too early into the box set, maybe about the halfway mark, which I think that starts, you know, setting things up and paying them off towards, you know, the middle of the third part, and then go to the fourth part. It's all payoffs from there. Here with the Master of Callous, they literally blow their load halfway through the story. You can tell that they have no idea where to take the story next from there. For the Persistence of, you know, it's literally an hour of this woman dying, and she's having, you know, losing oxygen, and she's running out, and it was just like, what? Why do I care? Why is this here? Why did this have to be placed? And then Sins of the Father ends things off. You can tell that they've written themselves into a corner here. You know, of course, the Master gets out in the most unsatisfying way possible, and everything just itself up in the end. And I will never, ever, ever understand why. I think the Master of Callous started off really strongly with its first 2 parts. It set up some really good ground. but then completely stumbles to the finish line in episode story 3 and 4. Whereas in Only the Good, yes, it's consistent all the way through except for story 3. And I don't know. I don't know which one I prefer more. I'd have to probably go for. Actually, I really don't know. I always sling more shit on Master of Callous, but I think I like what Master of Callous does, or tries to do a little bit more than Only the Good, but Only the Good has a stronger execution on the whole. But would I recommend both these box sets? Yes, I would love to recommend the first one. The second one, I would only recommend if you liked Volume 1. You'll probably notice that I have a very, very apathetic attitude towards the War Master box sets, and it's a good reason. Currently, I have listened to all 7 box sets, and out of the 7 that are out, there are only 3 that I really like, and that's Only the Good, Anti-Genesis, Self-Defense. The problem with the War Master box set is that it's very easy to predict what's going to happen. Who's going to win? It sort of builds the Master up as this really complex god who cannot be challenged. That whenever someone thinks that he might have moved the rook into the right place, he always pushes his pawn back. This happens for literally probably every single box set after Master of Callous, maybe even Master of Callous as well. You notice that the first 6 box sets, from 3 to 6, it's literally him just steamrolling everyone, and I did not really enjoy listening to that at all. Except for maybe 4. 4 is probably the exception to this, and you'll understand why we go to that box set. But yeah, it's just on the whole, I wish the War Master would probably be a bit more. I don't know. Bit better. You have this A-class actor, you have a really skilled team of writers writing for the War Master, so why are we still getting average box sets? I do have a theory about this. I'll probably make this to a separate video. I'll record after this one, but for the time being, let me know what you guys think about this, and yeah, I'll see you all on the flip side. Guys, bye.